The following program may contain strong language and mature content. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Friday, Junior. I feel it in my spirit. I'm just so excited that it is Friday, Junior. I keep telling y'all this, but it's so true. The things that adults get excited about. And for me, Friday, Junior is an exciting thing. It means the week is over. I might be able to sleep in a little bit, get some rest and some rejuvenation. But actually, that's a lie because on the weekends, I actually go to the library to do some writing for school. But at least I kind of get to do a little bit of rest and get myself ready. So happy Thursday. I'm Nicole D. Vick. This is this month's episode of Nicole D. Vick Live. Yay! Now, y'all already know from last week that I have reclaimed Women's History Month as Black Women's History Month. That's what I'm gonna do. That's my thing, and I've decided that that's what it is. Nomsa did tell me, she was like, actually, there is a Black Women's History Week, which kind of coincides with the end of Black History Month, moving into Women's History Month. So that's cool. We just gonna actually claim the whole month. That's just what we do. Like for most Black women, when our birthday is in September, we claim the whole month. It's kind of like that. So I know you understand where I'm coming from with this. We just gonna take the whole month over. Now, last week I was talking to you about Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw, and she was, talking about these concepts like intersectionality. And that's kind of why I decided, like, Women's History Month, I don't know if the focus is on us because, a lot of our needs as Black women are very different from even our Black male counterparts and our white women counterparts, right? So we have these very specific and unique needs in all aspects of our lives. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I am reclaiming Women's History Month as Black Women's History Month. Did I say history? Yeah, history. Sorry. Last week, I also talked about my great grandma. I wanted to kind of do this weekly thing where I highlight women in my life that have made a difference. And I talked about her and her shotgun. One of the photos I showed, she had her shotgun in her hand, and some of the things that she did as a businesswoman. She had a beauty salon. Was married to a real estate mogul. And so it was just like she had such a great inspiration on my life, definitely standing on her shoulders. This week, I didn't really prep anything. My aunt, I would say my mother's older sister, also was someone that I looked up a lot as a child. She was an advocate for people with disabilities. She was a commissioner, a city and county commissioner, and just an all-around fun person to be around. So I'd like to lift her up as well. We don't really talk much these days. That's a whole nother conversation, but can't deny the impact that she's had on my life, my daughter's life, my brother, and all the other, young folks in my family. So giving her much respect as well. So as we honor our ancestors and give ourselves an opportunity to dream of a future where Black women and their lives matter, I have a couple of tips for you, just in case you're trying to think about, how can I honor Black women this month? Listen to us, because guess what? We be knowing. We be knowing. And I say it like that on purpose. We be knowing all the things. Pay us. Pay us what you pay the guy down the hall. We are oftentimes overeducated, have worked twice as hard, have the benefit of lived experience, academic experience, and all this work experience. Pay us and let us lead. Let us lead. Guess why? Because we've been doing it all along anyway. We don't need your permission to lead, but still, let us do it. All right. Let's move to focus on today's episode. Come on through, co-host, before I go on a tangent. Because I was about to go down that road with that let us lead. I was like, wait. Happy Black Women's History Month. As you know, I've reclaimed it.
Hey, claim it. Wait a minute, and don't claim it for a month. You know, claim it. Yeah, 365 days is Black women's everything. How about that?
Boom, and that's that on that. Who's your favorite Black woman? Let's talk about that.
Me.
I was gonna say yes, you. Who's your favorite? Oh, okay. Who's your favorite? That's fair. I mean, you know.
I'm gonna say right now, me. I am loving me. I'm embracing me. I am becoming. I'm gonna say me right now. I mean, you know, of course, I feel, you know, I stand on the shoulders of my mother, my grandmothers, my great grandmother. But right now, I'm loving on me.
You know what? And I think that's fair because honestly, and you know this as well as anybody else, the rest of the world, you know, ain't quite, you know, fans of us. And I don't really care no more. You know, I don't. You've seen it. You see my random post in our group chat. I'm having this awakening moment. I don't know what's going on, but I'm embracing it, and I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna start saying what I really think about stuff because I think we've been living in well, maybe I'll speak for myself. I have been living under a rock in some ways for a while, and I've recently had some awakening. So I feel you on that. It's like if it's who is it? If it's not you, who, right? So I get that idea of like I'm my favorite person. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah. What else is going on? What you last month you was busy. What you was doing?
I'm trying to remember what was going on.
A panel or something. You was gone.
That's right. I was on a panel focusing on women's rights in Beverly Hills. So it was actually a really good panel. We talked about economics. We talked about women's reproductive health, supporting and investing in the future generations, so that, you know, we can have a better outcome. But it was a really good experience. It was nice being in that space, and then after that, I got interviewed and was highlighted in the Beverly press featured in for Black History Month. So
yeah, that was awesome.
It was a nice month.
That was awesome. I forgot to give Kwame the picture. We could have put that up on the screen. We'll be ready next time. But it was really a really nice article. And of course, I think those photos were taken by our homeboy Leroy.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was really well put together. I enjoyed it. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
And then you had you also had a publication. Yours as well.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm getting better at, like, I'm just gonna try something. So I saw something on Instagram on USC. They have like the black side of USC, and they were looking for article ideas. And I said, I'm about to pitch this idea. Let me tell my story. And they said, okay. And they said, sure, send it in. I said, damn, now I gotta actually write it. But I actually had half a day off and sat down and knocked it out. And I was like, I'm sorry, I know it needs a lot of editing. He was like, it's fine. It's actually, I just made a couple of grammatical. It's fine. And stuck them pictures on there. It was crazy to see me holding Andrea with my little USC sweatshirt on. It's funny because I don't know if you feel this way. Sometimes when I think about the things that I have gone through, it's almost like, did that really happen to me? Because I mean, it has been some time. Andrea is 26 years old. So it's almost 30 years ago, which is freaking crazy to me because I'm like, I'm only 30. So how could it be over 30 years ago when I'm only 30? I don't get it. But it just feels like it was so long ago. And like, I really did. I really had her on a Wednesday and was at school on Monday, the next Monday. It's crazy. So I don't know.
I mean,
I
I
don't
think everything happens. I'm one of those people. I believe everything happens for a reason, and that there's some plan. Depending on what you believe, whether it's God or the universe or whatever it is, we are all put here for a reason, and experience put us in certain places to touch people, to teach people. And so I think we just embrace that, right? Because I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely, absolutely, good or bad, honestly. And like and it's something I also believe too is you got to learn from that lesson. And I think that's even part of the book pushing through, right? Like literally finding a light in every lesson. How did we get it? How did we get to that? Like we literally just came around. It's like, duh, that's like
Full
literally
circle,
the
yeah.
whole point. Like, dang, this happened to me. And at the time it felt really bad or whatever it was. But what was the lesson in that? How can I use that to either inspire somebody or even if it's not even that, what did I learn from myself so that I don't repeat that mistake again or whatnot. So yeah, it's crazy. But I often think back like, dang, I really did that. Yeah.
I mean, but it moves away the stigma related to being a teen mom, and that doesn't mean that you can't achieve the things that you achieved, right? And the opportunities that you've had and what you've been able to do, right? And I think as we reframe being a parent as a teenager, what does that mean for your future, right? Because it doesn't mean that you don't go beyond, the 4 blocks you live in, right? It could
Right.
be something different. It means like you are working on getting a professional advanced degree,
Yeah.
right? So, you're not a statistic, you're more than that, right? You are an example to other young moms.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think one of the moments, and I'll share this and move on, but one of the things that also became clear to me, especially now as I'm having these moments of enlightenment about a lot of things, is things could have turned out differently. Someone said to me, "Why don't you take a leave of absence? Why don't you, take a moment, a pause?" And even though I didn't understand all the things about the world, I knew that wasn't the right that answer was the wrong answer. That was not the answer. Like, sir, why would you suggest that to me? And I knew that wouldn't be the right answer for me because I could have said, you know what, you're right. And would I have come back? I don't know.
Right.
Um, but and people tell me, don't say this about yourself, Nicole. I said, but I feel like in my what is it? How you say it? Naivete or stupidity. I didn't know any better. I hadn't thought it through. I'm like, no, I'll keep going. I didn't stop. And sometimes when you stop to think hard enough, you talk yourself out of things. And I think I'm grateful that, again, I was dumb enough, and I'll put it in quotes, that it didn't occur to me to do that. And I was like, what is he talking about? No, I'm just gonna keep going. She's fine. She at home with my mama. I'm gonna go back to school. And shout out to my mom too for Women's History Month because she didn't have to do that. She could have been like, "Baby, that's your baby." She was like, my mom was like, "Yeah, baby." So she lied, but I'm just saying she did not have to do that. I mean, if I came home with a baby today, I can't do that. I can't.
Right.
Right. So,
Right.
so yeah, that's crazy. But I'm glad it got published. I got to speak to USC in a sense about
Yeah.
what happened to
Yeah.
me. I've shared that story before, but it literally got published in USC's publication. I think that to me is significant. So
That's dope. Yeah.
we all up in the media stuff, getting stories printed.
Yeah, look at us. Hey.
So we have a guest, someone. I'm gonna gas her up before. Let's gas her up before we bring her on.
Yes.
Someone that I really just have the most respect for. She has this spirit, and let me know if you feel the same way. She
Okay.
has this beautiful spirit. on the inside, but she's also just such a beautiful woman on the outside. And then I feel like she's just this auntie. And like if you know how you think about who a teacher is, you could see her and see how she moves about and tell that she was a teacher. Not one of them crazy teachers, just like a one that really loved her students and loved to be that source. So I remember when we met her, how I was like, she's great. And she even came to my house once and helped me with Andrea on an art project. And it was just amazing. So I don't know. I just felt like we need to gas her up before we bring her on.
You know, and you are right. She does have this spirit about her. That just, I mean, there is just a presence of grace, of love that just kind of drips from her. So I think it's amazing.
Yes, come on through. Come on, Dellis.
Y'all need to quit.
What?
Thank you for those kind words.
It's true. It's true, though. It's true. It's true. So hello, Dellis. And
Hi, how's everybody doing this evening?
Fabulous.
I like that Friday Junior.
Girl, that's the best.
I really like that Friday Junior.
I need a t-shirt, hat, something that says Friday Junior on it. Now I'm the worst person. Kwame gonna get me because he put the bio and stuff together. Did I download the bio? Okay.
You don't need the bio, you know her.
You don't need the bio. That's fine.
We don't need the bio. We know Dellis. That's all we need. That's all we got.
How you being, Dellis?
And well, girl, I am living my best life. I am having so much fun now that I don't have to, do that 9 to 5. Even though I loved it, every phase makes me who I am now, and I appreciate everything that I've done, all the people that I've met, all the interactions, everything. I really do. So. Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah. And how long have you been retired?
Oh man, since 2018, right before pandemic. I'm like,
yeah. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Perfect.
Oh God.
That was the right time to be like, boop.
Yeah. When I look back on it, I'm like, yeah, universe was looking out for me.
Yeah. Because right after that, it was like wild.
I really appreciated that.
Wildness. So you are now a full-time artist that focuses on social justice, nature, and decorative art. And you're really passionate about visual art, fiber sculptures, and arts education. And I was telling before you came on, I'm sure you heard it that day when I guess I must have posted on Facebook that my child had came home with that bottom half of a damn mannequin. And I said,
"Well, that was hilarious."
And you were like, "Ooh, I want to come help her figure out how to paint it." And you come in, and it's still sitting on display in the front of the house with the stockings on it and the flowers and the thing. I said, he gonna sit right there.
I love it. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when you said it. I'm like, but I love it. We're talking about freedom of expression time now.
Literally came with the dang on hat. I'm like, where did you find? I don't know, Mom. I was getting off the train. I saw it. Okay, well, in the back seat.
Well, now see, that's just a perfect kind of segue into some of my art practice. Using found objects, repurposing things so that it doesn't clutter up our landfill. And mess with our environment. So that's the foundation of my work. Even though there are a lot of different parts to it, the greening of fine art, meaning that stop, cluttering up. You got to respect nature. Our ancestors, and I'm not talking about just the ones here. I'm talking about the ones from where we were taken had such a oneness with the earth. We've lost that in, you know, our strong colonial belief in you know, the Christian God kind of thing. Now, let me not get into that, but there's not the time for that. But the ancestors, you know, had their connection to the earth, and that that just bubbles strong inside me.
Yeah. You see Andrea's on, she just said, yes, I'll never forget that mannequin. She left a comment. I told her to come on so she could say hi.
Girl, I love Andrea so much.
And I've been trying to tell her to get her art back together. She hasn't been very creative lately, but she was really good.
Yeah.
But you know, they get grown, they be doing other things.
They do their own thing.
We gonna get her back to it. No, so you got any questions for Dellis as we move through?
Well, you gotta tell everybody how we met.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, Nose, and tell us.
Okay, I'm can you hear me?
Yes.
So my screen, so my visual, there's a little bit of a delay. So I'm gonna stop my camera, but since you can still hear me, I'm just gonna talk.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So okay, so how do we know each other? I want to say though, Dellis, I met you before the endowment work, because I think there was stuff with the health centers, because we
actually that came after.
That was after?
I think it was.
Okay.
Because I was tapped to be the LAUSD representative for Building Healthy Communities when we were local district 7. And that was before I was a wellness OF. I was just a regular, you know, organization facilitator. So I met you before the wellness centers. And then when that came about and I moved positions, that just kind of solidified our relationship, you know, and all the work that we were doing.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. I know that time back there, because that was a while back.
Yeah.
That was a while back.
That was 2010, wasn't it?
10?
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was 10. I think it was 10.
There was some time before that, because there was the planning period before it actually rolled out. And that's why
you're right.
There was a planning period. And so there was a smaller, you know, and that was more of the CEOs or the EDs, and they had one representative. So I participated in that even before we had the larger, when folks started to get funded and then come together. Yeah. And that was almost 2 years or something like that before we actually, the money went out. But why?
I want to say 2008.
Something like, because we had a couple of years even before that. But we had, and Dellis, why I thought it was even before that through mental health, because we opened the health center at the elementary school. And we were meeting with folks who had the mental health roundtable or something. So I was thinking I had met you before, you know, but those cross paths and that time frame pretty much overlapped. But you know, Dellis, we wasn't referring to anybody as auntie at the time, but Dellis was the auntie of us, for everybody. That was everybody's auntie.
Yes. You know, so many good relationships came out of that coalition. I will honestly say, I don't know how effective that actual body was, because, you know, I left after some while and, you know, stuff changes and stuff. But I will say for sure, there were so many connections made during that South LA Building Healthy Communities Collaborative, lifelong friends, all kinds of relationships that were developed that were so very amazing. To say the least, really. So they need to count that as a success. When they
absolutely agree. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. We are it's 2023. We are on this screen, you know, doing this, you know, virtual thing together, right? And it is to think about how far we have come. I have at my house hanging in my home office a picture that Dellis made for me that is hanging in my home office still to this day.
Yep.
I remember that. wasn't it some kind of exchange thing?
It was
or
I think it was.
It was a paying
a
forward.
pay forward.
And so so it was, and you didn't know when you were gonna get it, and I was completely surprised. But it is still hanging up. And if I was at home, I would turn the camera so you can see it, but it is still hanging on the wall.
I enjoyed making that for you.
And I was like, oh my God. I was like, then when I got the detail, because at first I was just looking at it, and then she was like, I want you to really look at it
closely.
And then I was like, oh my God, that's my name.
Your name.
She wrote my name 100 and some times all over this. I was like, oh my God, I loved it. That was it was very touching. I loved it. I was like, Dellis has had a special place in my heart even before that. But then I was like, I actually have something that she made
on your wall. That's crazy.
Nice. I love
now, Dellis, you are an artist. I've said that already. An amazing one at that. Your art has been on television.
Yes.
I want you to talk about how your artistic side has evolved over time. Talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to go to break because we've been talking. We've been talking. We're out of time.
Okay, so I can't really even remember a time when I wasn't an artist or having some kind of creative something. And my mother, she lifted that part up in me from day one. One of the many books that she wrote, she dedicated to me, Dellis Frank, the artist. And that was before I was doing any stuff. So she just put it out there. She said, yes, I feel this. This is you. And by the way, she is one of my sheroes. She was a phenomenal woman. She was the type of person, if she saw something that needed to be done, come on, let's do it. She would start organizations. I'm telling you, the woman has got so many clubs, organizations, Black women this, that she did the PTA. She did this club called the Alexis Club, so doing community thing. The woman was outspoken. And she was a genius. She went to Loma Linda, USC, and UCLA.
Okay.
And so she's my shero.
I know that.
And then on the artistic side, because you're talking about how we express ourselves and reclaim ourselves through artistic expression, Bisa Butler and Kara Walker are top two. I don't really do favorites, but they are top two that inspire me because they're not afraid to tell that story,
right?
And the story is all about us.
I love that.
So I'm like, yes, don't be afraid to tell that story about us.
Yes.
So we're actually going to go to break. We can.
We're gonna go to break, and we're gonna come back and talk about the piece that you shared with me and Nomsa, and it's something else we got to talk about and add to that. But we're gonna go to break, and we're gonna come back and talk about that. Take it as the break, Kwame. Okay, we're back. Every time I get lost in the music, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing something. Let me pay attention to what's going on. Now, you, Dellis, created this beautiful art piece, and you tagged us in it, me and Nomsa, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then I was like, wait, I saw Nomsa first. I was like, wait. And then I looked like it's me. Kwame, can you show it? I think I sent it to you. Hopefully you can show it on the screen, the artwork that Dellis did. It is so beautiful. Can you speak to the thought behind it? And also, I would say it was beautiful to also see so many other familiar faces. Fran is in there. Erica Badu. I mean, it was really cool. So yeah, can you share sort of the background and thought of this artwork?
So this piece had been churning inside me for a long time. Because the first iteration of the concept was to have Michelle Obama in all her glory, because this is like an 8-foot canvas.
Oh,
yeah, and she would have been, in her stately, beautiful self, and then all the Barbies bunched up at the bottom, and all of that. The piece was always going to be called "No Barbies Allowed," and then I kept thinking on it. I'm like, there are so many of us that are the epitome of this, of not letting that Barbie be our icon and be what we strive for. That is not what we strive for by any means. So I wanted to show and honor the women that are like, we got this. This is who I am. I am going to represent my community like this. And in so many different ways. You've got politicians in there, you've got educators, you've got astronauts, athletes, entertainers, educated women that are doing things for our community, that helps our community. And you've got some in there that are maybe not the same political values that we share, but she's still a strong Black woman doing her thing and not letting anything get in her way. So, in being inclusive, because I'm all about that diversity and equity and all of that, right? So in being inclusive, I'm going to include everybody in there. So I remember going to visit my daughter one year in Boston, because I have grandbabies out there and they have a slew of cousins. So I said, hey, do you guys have any old Barbies that you're not using anymore? I want them. So they dug and dug and dug, and they got out, So of course, all theirs were Black Barbies. So like, I need some white Barbies in here. So I had to go to the store to get, I went to the donation store to get the white Barbies so that I could make my point. So that was, I let them know that, yes, you guys have contributed to an art piece that, I want to share with the world and let people know that, no, we're gonna honor our own standard of beauty and success. So that's the basis for this piece.
It's beautiful.
And, I count you guys among, the very strong, beautiful, capable women in my life that I wanted to honor in this piece as well.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. I know Nomsa does. I mean, again, looking at it again, I see the mayor, of the city of Los Angeles, Laverne Cox. And also want to say real quick, I appreciate your thought process around diversity, equity, inclusion. A lot of times folks tend to think us older generation people are set in our ways and we don't get it. It's like, it's not hard. It's not hard to get it. It's not hard to understand that people, their personhood needs to be respected. It's not hard. So I appreciate that.
Let people be.
Right. That's it. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's all. Now, and as we start to kind of close, how can we all use our creative to further the cause of Black women's freedom? I think there's, of course, advocacy, getting involved in politics, doing voting and those kinds of things. But how can we use art, in the forms of art, to further the cause of Black women as we strive towards freedom? Because we not free.
No, we're not. We absolutely are not. And then, when we talk about art, we are talking about all the forms of art. So not just the visual art. I had the beautiful poet that she's just such a blessing, such a breath of fresh air. Be true and support those kinds of artists that are not afraid to tell it like it is. Use all of those kinds of artistic expressions to do that. Every day when we get dressed, the colors that we choose, the types of clothing that we wear are all statements. And all of that speaks to our creativity and the stories we want to tell about ourselves, our ancestors, the communities that we belong to, and so forth. So every decision that you make along those lines is important. And that goes towards your artistic expression. I know, I'm on Facebook, everybody's on Facebook and whatever. I've seen the little ads of these gorgeous women with the Africa purses. I'm like, yeah, hello. Be proud. And look, yes, be proud of that. And show your pride. We are not usually able to do that. You see the lawsuits and things about children being able to have their natural hair. I'm like, what if I don't want to put chemicals on my child's hair? What if I don't want to put heat on my child's hair? How are you going to tell me? No, that is a form of artistic expression as well. So, embracing all of these kinds of things will let the rest of the world know that we're not going to take that anymore.
Yeah.
Another piece that's actually in a solo show that I have at Crafton Hills College is a piece. You may have seen it. I think I've posted it before. This huge image of Africa. And there is I guess it's not a full dandelion, but it is the impression of a dandelion, and the spores kind of going. And it's called, the African diaspora. We are everywhere. So you think of a dandelion. Once you let it go, it's going everywhere. So that's what I want us to think of. In our communities, we're everywhere. We're going to be everywhere. Get used to it.
Sure enough.
All right.
Mic
drop. Mic drop. You done.
No, so you have any questions or anything to add? We're gonna.
I have no questions. I think the only thing I want to add is just like Dellis said, we represent our who we are, from beauty to brains, and just how we are and function in the world. And yes, this is Women History Month, and a lot of times we, when you think about history, we weren't always part of women's history. We get erased. Trans folks get erased. It's like we get erased. So this is a chance and opportunity to lift us all up, right? And honor our beauty in all the different ways that it exists. So just this is happy. I feel like I wish I could give you a hug, but here's my virtual hug. It just warmed my heart, and I did have some tears because I was like, wait a minute, that's me. But there's Nicole, and there's something. So it just was like, it was beautiful. I was just like grateful, humbled to even be in that space, thought of that way. But you've just always been just so special that way.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. And listen, I had no idea it was 8 feet tall.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
And where is it?
It's actually hanging out in the hallway outside of where the gallery is at the college, because it is so big. Yeah. And it garnered lots of attention.
You might have to go see it in person.
Yeah.
I think the last day I go de-install March 30th. So it's up 2 months.
Wow.
It will have been up for 2 months, and that's pretty long for, an exhibition.
Wow. So how can people find you if they want to get, into your art and, get all of involved?
Oh, well, I'm on Facebook, Dellis Frank the artist, Dellis Frank _ the artist on Instagram. And they know you. You know how to get to me.
This is true. This is correct. Well, thank you, Dellis, for joining us tonight. I'm happy to have you back this month. We missed you last month. I said, what I'm doing by myself? What? So I'm glad to have you back. And so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You know where to find me. I am on social media. Everything is Nicole D. Vick, Instagram, TikTok. Mostly if you want to know about Nicole for real, TikTok is where to see the real Nicole, because Instagram is just for show, trying to be cutesy. TikTok is look, listen, this is what happened. Check out my website, www.nicoledvick.com. You can go on there and put in requests. I do hosting, speaking, moderating, facilitating, all the things. You can see all of my podcast episodes that I've been on Spotify, all that good stuff. And then of course I have my books. Pushing Through is my first one. Push Through is the second one. You can find them on Amazon. I have some here. If you want to, reach out to me, I can mail you some in a nice little package, real cute. But thank you all so much. Thank you, Dellis. Thank you, Nomsa, for being here. Forgot me and Andrea. We're gonna bring Pushing Through back. She actually did a guest little drop in on my I've been on here every week, which is crazy because I said, Kwame, I can't be on every week, but every week I've been on here. So I'll go live Tuesday.
I guess you can.
The rest of the weeks, I'll either do just a speaking, you don't see me, or I'll record. So I had Andrea drop in for a little bit on a previous episode and talk for a few minutes.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll bring her back, once or twice a month. But anyway, thank you all, and I'll see you next week. I was going to say next month, but next week, because I'm going to be on with the recap of this episode.
It's been such an honor. Thank you for inviting me, and congratulations on Crenshaw TEDx too.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
It's been an honor. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.